Hey, folks, how's it going? Good to see you. It's one of those days. I can tell it's one of those days when the gray hairs get activated. They get more They get more angry. There's more angry gray hairs poking out. I got some big stories for you. I got news on the latest crimes from apartheid Israel. I got news in Haiti. I got news from France. I got news from protesters that have stood up and actually won in court. So yeah, lot of news. I also have a new episode of the Most Censored News for you on one of the most evil companies in the world. This is an epic new episode of Most Censored News for those who haven't seen it, although it's brand new. So how could you have seen it? But thanks you for being here. Please take a second to hit share and like and all those things. Leave a comment, even if you don't have anything ricocheting in your head that you want to put in the comment section. Just do it anyway. Just bang against the keyboard or something, because the algorithm doesn't know whether maybe it just thinks you speak gibberish. The point is, the algorithm will go, wow, these people are talking, even if it just means you had a stroke, passed out, hit your head on the keyboard. That excites the algorithm. It's like, whoa, all right. So go ahead, have a stroke, hit your head on the keyboard. All good for me. And that's all I care about. Now, seriously though, thanks for being here, and please share it and let everybody know. Let all the good folks know. But yeah, let's just dive right in. I'm not. That's it. That's all. That's the whole intro you're gonna get from me. I'm diving right in. This is coming, and several of these stories, like you'll notice, this is not what the mainstream's talking about. For some indie networks, it's not even what indie networks are talking about. This is the stuff that's getting covered up, that's getting ignored. So that's why you come here. I hope that's why you come here to watch this. One of the main reasons. But in Israel expropriates more land to expand illegal settlements in occupied Palestinian territories. And you know, I think most of you probably already understand how this works. That fucking background, I always forget. I think most of you understand how this works. And by the way, I don't know if I need to say it. Some people think it matters. I wish it didn't matter. But yes, I am Jewish by birth, atheist by choice. But people think that you can't criticize Israel and be Jewish, or they think that if you criticize Israel, then you are anti-Semitic. No, that's not how that works. That is fucking not true. You can criticize Israel all you want. Israel is a government. It's a very deadly government with a very large military and nuclear weapons. And so if you think you can't criticize Israel, then that's a serious problem. So yes, you can criticize Israel. What you can't do is pretend that Israel is all Jews. If you do that, that's fucked up. You see how that works? It's nice. It's nice how that works. So, all right. Israel continues to expand. They continue to steal land from Palestinians. And this is part of their ongoing system. This is how it works. This is how it works in that apartheid country. This is not like it's not like, you know, people just, well, a guy needed a home and he saw that farmland wasn't being used. So he just put up a little tent there, and then it turned into a shed, and then it turned into a shack. Well, what's he gonna do? It's not like that. This is a systemic pushing of people out of their land, out of their area, out of their homeland, out off their private property that they own. Because who are the Palestinians going to turn to say, no, it's my land, I own it? Are they going to turn to the Israeli court system that's never going to hold up their claims? But anyway, let's get into more of the details. On Monday, October 31st, Israeli officials issued a military order to seize over 616 dunams. No, not 616 dunams. Kidding, I have no idea what that means, but apparently it means 152 acres of private Palestinian land in the villages of Kuriot and Al-Laban Shakiya. I thought if I said it quickly, it would just sound like I knew how to pronounce those. Near Nablus in the occupied, got that one right, in the occupied West Bank, in order to expand the illegal settlement of Eli, Palestinian Wafa news agency, reported the order to appropriate Palestinian land was issued suddenly, which left several people complaining about their land being seized overnight by occupation authorities. And I guess that's a little unusual because although this theft is ongoing and it happens all the time, it's often they give them a warning. They say, hey, you're going to be evicted. And then the people try and fight it. And of course, they never win because Israel is all powerful in these regards, and kicks them off their land anyway. But this was done overnight. In the dead of night, they just issued the order, and then they show up, start destroying people's lands, kicking them off their land. Obviously, this is also not a new system, right? This is called, colonialism, imperialism, colonization, all of those things. This is how it works, right? It was done to the Native Americans. It was done to the Aborigines. It was done in so many different native lands, and it's being done to the Palestinians. This is an image here of a Palestinian farmer arrived at his land in order to pick his olives, only to find out that a settler from the illegal Israeli settlement of Eli stole the land, seized it, uprooted the trees in it, and turned it into a park for his own personal use. I mean, it's pretty revolting because it's not just stealing the land, it's stealing the livelihood, right? The ability to earn a living. Some of these people are olive farmers, and that's their only way of making a living. And, again, if they show up and an Israeli settler has stolen their land, you can see from that photo, who's in charge of mediating, of standing between the two screaming sides? The IDF, the fucking Israeli military. And whose side do you think they're more on? The Israeli side or the Palestinian side? So, this is a case of guns make right, huh? The settlement is located near Nablus in the northern occupied West Bank. It started as a cluster of mobile homes on a hill in the area in 1984 and expanded gradually with the expropriation of more and more Palestinian land. It has now become one of the largest settlements inside the occupied West Bank with a population of around 5,000. And of course, America is heavily linked to all of this, right? Israel is essentially our outpost in the Middle East. We are the largest funders of their elections. Netanyahu, their largest funders are Americans. The owner of the most read newspaper in Israel is an American, Adelson. I think he finally died, didn't he? But still, his family, and he is a far right wing mofo, or was, is his family own it. And so, that goes to show how intertwined Israel and the United States are. I mean, it goes very deep. The Israeli government, the Israeli nation is very important to the U.S. empire, to the U.S. to be able to continue empire in that region. And so it's that's why the U.S. not only stands with, quote unquote, Israel all of the time, but also this stuff can't even be talked about, right? You won't even hear your media mention this. There's essentially zero coverage of what goes on in Israel, of Israel's crimes, of Israel being an apartheid state, which it's the dictionary definition of an apartheid state. So they like to act like that's some kind of controversial thing to say. You called it an apartheid state, right? Katie Halper, friend of mine, just lost her show and everything at The Hill for doing an extended segment showing how Israel is, by definition, just dictionary definition, an apartheid state. And they just immediately fired her and canceled all of her work with them. And so you can't even say this stuff. And that's arguably mainstream media. Like, on television media, you really can't say anything about Israel almost at all, unless it's some little news story about how Biden went over and met with Netanyahu. That's about the extent of coverage you'll get on mainstream media. So really, it's by it's lies through omission. It's lies by not really talking about it, not really referencing it. The one time I saw them cover some of this stuff was during the Palestinian Great March of Return, in which the IDF, the Israeli military, was just picking off, just killing children, elderly, the press, medics, unarmed, of course. You aren't surprised that medics and press aren't armed, and children, and they killed hundreds. And this was finally covered a little bit in our mainstream media, but when it was done with the passive voice, right? Palestinians died during the Great March of Return. The IDF might have been present. Palestinians were found less than living on the Great March of Return. Unclear what happened. One child apparently fell face first into 7 bullets. It's always like passive voice. They never say Israeli military murdered children. Like, it's a simple sentence, right? You saved a lot of words, save ink. There you go. Then New York Times could save ink if they actually told the truth, but they won't do that. All of this is just kind of ignored or left on the printing room floor. By the way, I saw someone mention Ron Placone in the chat here. Ron Placone should be joining us in about 20 minutes, so get ready for that. And I hear he's gonna be quite a character. Oh my God. Meanwhile, in East Jerusalem, the Israeli-controlled Al-Quds Planning and Building Committee decided on Monday to build 135 settler units in the Palestinian locality of Sheikh Jarrah. I mean, this is just kind of ongoing. They act like it's kind of like the U.S. court system, where they act like people without a lot of money can get any kind of justice from the U.S. court system. No, it's not. But who do you go to deal with it? Oh, well, you go to the court system. Well, who do you deal with? Who do you go when you say the court system didn't treat you right because the other guy is a fucking multimillionaire and hired dozens of lawyers, and you're the guy who got fucked and you have $10 to your name? Well, you go to our legal system again. You go to the justice system. Well, you go to the next court above that. Well, who were they in bed with? Oh, they're in bed with the oligarchy, the ruling class. Our laws have been set by the ruling class, mainly ruling white men. Occasionally you get a white woman in there, but and so it's like the people that write the rules on the inside of the box lid for the game, they're all on one team, and they're all on that team for the U.S. justice system, and they're all on that team for the Israeli justice system. Or when Palestinians say, "Hey, my land is being fucking stolen," who do they go to say my land was stolen by a fucking douchebag that just showed up yesterday and claimed that the place I lived for 30 years is now his home? Where do they go? Oh, they go to the Israeli court system. Yeah. Well, whose side are those courts on, do you think? I'm sure they're impartial. I'm sure they just listen to the two sides and they speak the truth. What do you think they do? All Israeli construction inside. Oh, and this is an important point, by the way. All Israeli construction inside occupied Palestinian territories is illegal, according to the 4th Geneva Convention. All right. So you already got a Geneva Convention saying this is illegal, related to occupied territories. It also violates UN Security Council Resolution 2234, which specifically calls Israeli settlement expansion inside the occupied territories, quote, violations of international humanitarian law and relevant resolutions. All right, so UN Security Council resolution says it's illegal. Geneva Convention says it's illegal. Hasn't stopped them. Not only has it not stopped them, hasn't started your media on talking about them. Despite international opposition and UN resolutions, Israel has been expanding its illegal settlements in the occupied territories since 1967. Today, over 700,000 Israelis live in over 230 illegal settlements in these territories. I mean, and it's amazing that this gets zero coverage, like zero. And this is, it is tough for me to even remind myself to cover it, because like every time new settlements come in and steal land and everything, it's just begun to seem like the norm, right? And I could say this for a lot of topics that I care deeply about, like fucking pipelines ripping through people's neighborhood, and new oil contracts, and big oil saying they're going green when they're fucking not. You could go down big pharma raising prices on medicine, life-saving medicines, and go down the list of things where it's like, we need to keep talking about them and keep covering them and keep fighting back against them, because just because the fact that they're happening a lot, that this shit keeps going on, doesn't make it not a news story. It makes it more of a news story. But it is tough to remind yourself and remind viewers and remind all of us that, yeah, you may have heard this 1,000 times. Israel creating settlements. Israel displacing Palestinians. When was the time you didn't hear a story about that going on? But and on mainstream media, always, actually, you don't hear a story like that going on, but you know what I meant. And so, but you do have to keep covering these things. Yeah. Or environmental destruction. You got to fucking keep talking about it. Don't give up. And there actually has been a lot of success in the fight to make people aware about Israel and about what they're doing and about the fact that they're an apartheid state. And that has really grown. I think that the percentage of people that now understand that Israel is the dictionary definition of an apartheid state has definitely gone up over the past few years. The BDS, boycott, divest, and sanction has gone up. Has had an incredible impact, and that's why it is being attacked so much. Is because of that. So. But all right, I want to move on to another story before we bring in Ron Placoni. It'd be great if you pronounced the hard E at the end of Ron Placone. Ron Placoni should be here in a few minutes. But I want to talk about a victory. And yeah, I'm getting to a bunch of other stories. I don't need to keep saying that. But by the way, please click like, click thumbs up, share this, let people know, click subscribe, all those good things. If you feel like you want to see this show keep going, and I'm 67% of the way to the goal, which means I'm 2/3 of the way to my goal where this will be sustainable, I believe, and it can be, long-term sustainable. And that's at leecamp.net, and you can sign up for the minimum is $1.25 a week. And it gets you exclusive content, gets you exclusive Q&A with me every Friday. So all those great things. If you just sign up at leecamp.net, I hope you'll do that. It forwards you to my locals page, which is like Patreon, except better. So please do that. All right, moving on. This is one of those good news things. Can you believe it? It's one of those rare moments where we can all sit back and go, God, there's something good going on. Somebody won. A powerful victory as a judge dismisses charges against Line 3 water protectors. Now, I think many of you have probably heard of the fight over Line 3. It's been ongoing. Opponents of Line 3 on Tuesday welcomed a Minnesota judge's dismissal of all charges against 5 water protectors arrested last year for protesting plans to have the tar sands pipeline cross the Shell River, ironically called the Shell River, in several places. Now, let me just make a couple of notes that I always feel are necessary. One is tar sands is the most dirty, most disgusting type of fuel there is. In order to make it, to separate it from the sands and the tar and loosen it up and everything, they fill it. This is already toxic oil, but they fill it with some kind of other extra chemicals. I think the final substance is called bitumen, and it in order to pump it through the pipes. So it's like all kinds of just oil and cancel causing gunk coming through these pipes. And so these pipes, as they're saying, were slated to cross the Shell River in several places Here's the other thing I always feel the need to make clear whenever we talk about oil pipelines. They all leak. They all fucking leak. All right? Honestly, I would challenge somebody. I will eat my beard if somebody can show me an oil pipeline that doesn't leak. I actually won't. If you win on that, I'm sorry, I still won't eat my beard. But no, there's tens of thousands of oil pipelines across the United States, and they all leak. The question is to what level, and to what level before they're noticed and stopped and fixed. But they and Greg Palast has done great work on this. There's others who have. They all leak to some extent. Now, not all of them are massive leaks that fill rivers and fill Gulf of Mexico and shit, but they all leak. So it's just a question of when. Well, if this pipe is crossing the Shell River in multiple places, it's a question of when and how much. And all it takes is a little oil, right, to destroy a water supply for a good long time, and destroy the environment for a good long time. So the idea that these pipelines can go across this river and it be safe and it be okay is bullshit. And I hope everyone realizes that it's bullshit. And so this is even if we weren't dealing with the climate crisis. Even if we weren't like, holy shit, we got to stop fossil fuels. My neighbor is on fire. Like, even if we weren't in that place, still, this is bullshit because it's an oil pipeline going across people's water supply, across an important river. Still, it's awful. But then you add to it the climate crisis, and it's amazing that any of this is allowed to continue at all. But anyway, framed as a replacement project by Canadian oil giant Enbridge, another one of the most evil companies in the world, but perhaps not as evil as one of the most. I mean, honestly, there's an easy debate to be made that it is the most evil company in the world. That is coming up at the end of this episode when I show you a new most censored news segment. But anyway, Enbridge, the new pipeline. So this was a replacement. The new pipeline runs partly along a different route and roughly doubled the capacity of the initial Line 3. It began operating last month after years of construction and indigenous-led protests. What do indigenous know? They've only been on the land for 100,000 years, whatever. Maybe not 100, but 10,000 years. Well, what could they possibly know? They only have a culture and a people that have devoted themselves to understanding the land and caring for the land and viewing the land as something that needs to be respected and taken care of, as opposed to just exploited, as opposed to just eaten and shat out the other end, as opposed to just destroyed, as opposed to just something that can be fucking co-opted and commodified and sold to the highest bidder. They view the land and the nature and the wildlife as something other than that. But except for those things, what do they know? Fucking nothing. Minnesota District Judge Doug Clark on Monday dismissed the cases of Cheryl Barnes. And by the way, I'm going to read these names. Sometimes I just say, if I'm talking about a trial or something, I just say dismiss the cases of the defendants. I'm going to read these names because these are fucking heroes, all right? And I want you to know their names because these are the type of people we should have fucking statues to instead of Confederate generals. Dismiss the cases of Cheryl Barnes, Mary Klein, Kelly Miracle, Trish Weber, and Barbara With on the grounds that the state had failed. Boy, all women. Does that mean are women better? Are they better than? Are they? I don't know. Are they better than us? Because that makes me uncomfortable. On grounds that the state had failed to demonstrate probable cause to sustain all charges, according to Honor the Earth and the legal groups representing the water protectors. In doing so, Judge Clark did not reach the Shell River defendants' treaty-based claims. So he didn't. I guess they mean he did not address the treaty-based claims that. I'm guessing that means that it was part of an indigenous treaty for them to, have precedence over the river. The other two members of the Shell River 7, independent photojournalist Kay Flo Rizalski and Honor the Earth executive director and co-founder Winona LeDuc. It is all women. God damn it. Come on, men. Step it up. What the fuck's your problem? Losers. Two of them, so including Winona LaDuke, still face 3 misdemeanor charges each, to which, like the 5 who had their cases dismissed, pleaded not guilty. Criminalizing and overcharging protesters is a common tactic used by the state to scare activists and suppress movements, said attorney Claire Glenn. Another woman, god damn it! Would you men fucking get your ass in gear? They're making you look bad, okay? The Line 3 legal fellow of the Water Protector Legal Collective and Civil Liberties Defense Center. The criminalization of the Shell River defendants was no exception, and this dismissal is a powerful victory of water protectors. And that's a great point, that the reason these people are facing such lengthy sentences, they throw like terrorism charges at them and shit like that every time someone chains themselves to a pipeline, call it critical infrastructure, right? As if the fucking forests and the rivers aren't critical infrastructure to our lives. Yeah, rivers, fucking with a river is not critical, not important, not going to harm anyone. Not important at all. You know, it's not a critical part of our system. But you touch a pipeline that's critical infrastructure. Anyway, they throw all these charges at them to basically, yes, they maybe love to lock them up, but really it's meant to serve as a warning. It's the ruling class, the ruling elite, basically sending a warning flare to anyone who might dare try and step up and fight back and stand up and fight back. And that's why we got to talk about these people's story, is we got to show them that we're with them. We got to show them that this is all of us. And again, this is what fucking heroes look like. All right. Those women standing right there in the face of douchebags with guns. Those are heroes. Not the guys with the badges and the guns who can kill someone and never face charges. That doesn't take courage, right? They don't have anything to fear. They can literally, police are arrested and convicted of murder 0.01 or 0.001% of the time. So essentially they can murder people and have no ramifications ever. That doesn't take courage. That's not courageous. They can obviously beat the shit out of people and not face any ramifications. Again, doesn't take any courage. What those women are doing right there, that fucking takes courage. That's courage. That's bravery. You understand how they've gotten your mind mixed up? They've gotten a lot of America to think that because this person has a badge on their sleeve, that's brave. That's courage. Bullshit. All right. So there you go. Good news story. See, who says I don't bring it with the good news? All right. I want to move on to our guest, good friend of mine. You might know him as one of the large cast of Get Your News On with Ron. I think he runs the boom mic or something. Please welcome Ron Placone.
Lee, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, my man.
Why are you so small? Wait, there it is.
I'm just there. I am. And yeah, I'm on the tech team over there. Get Your News On with Ron. Fun gig.
Yeah. You designed the logo and that was it.
Yeah. Then I bailed, but I still pop in.
How you doing?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I am not bad. Yeah, hanging in there.
I was surprised.
Doing my thing. I don't know that Elon Musk actually is going to get me any more Twitter followers, though. I don't think it. So far, it has not helped.
Me neither. Yeah, that's a whole thing. But I will mention, I'm sure you've talked about Elon a good bit already, but there is one.
No, not really.
I
like to avoid things that get clicks.
That's a good call. Well, I was going to mention one quick aside. I didn't realize police arrests were that high, man. When you said 0.00001, I was like, no kidding. No kidding. I thought you would still be saying zero. So I'm like, Lee's going to have to bump me. He's doing the percentage of when they get in trouble.
I'm going off of, it was actually an NBC News report that from 2005 to 2019, so 15 years, they found 3 officers that had been convicted of murder and the conviction had been held up. So 3 officers out of, now, if you assume 1,000 people murdered a year, then 15,000. But New York Times and a larger report that was in the Lancet Medical Journal just said that those numbers are undercut or underreported by half. So really, it's 30,000 people murdered, 3 officers convicted.
Sheesh. Wow. I mean, yeah, like joking aside, I am still surprised it's that high. But man, when you like look at those numbers, it's just like wow. But no, the one kind of small little sliver of silver lining in the whole Elon Musk thing is that they found a tweet of his where before he had Twitter, he called for encryption across all direct messages. He's like, well, I think all messages should have encryption protection. So now people are like, hey, Elon, guess what? You can make that decision now, buddy. How about you go ahead and enact that? I don't agree with you on much, but I agree with you on that one. So make it happen, dude.
It'll be so interesting to see all of the things that he caves on because he's also said like, oh, like they shouldn't cover up or suppress stuff people are saying. And already since he took over, apparently Donald Trump died was like trending for a day, and everyone thought Donald Trump had died, and it was all completely false. I think Trump's not even sick or anything. It just somebody just said it. And so quickly Twitter is becoming just like, a fucking free-for-all. But here's the thing, though. It's like they were suppressing fake news like Donald Trump died, but they were also suppressing anything that questions U.S. propaganda. So if both of those all of a sudden bubble to the top, will people maybe start to become more discerning about what the fuck they're seeing?
That's an optimistic view. I mean, maybe. I think you're just going to see a lot of people bail. I think a lot of people are just be like, okay, this has just become like a, I guess, free for all is the way you put it, and that's a good way to put it. This has just become a total free for all. Because the one thing, and look, I am the first to say that the whole blue check thing is very annoying, especially as someone who's tried to get it a couple times and hasn't. So it's annoying, sure, but
now if you right now had 2 blue checks next to your name, would you feel differently?
I'd say it's the greatest thing ever. I'd be like, greatest invention ever, very important to mankind. But no, it is important though for verification's sake. That's why in any given news article or blog post, people can say so and so said this and quote them because it's from their Twitter account and it's actually them and it's verified. So if you just start charging a monthly fee for such a thing, I mean, that's just that like verification just sort of goes out the window. So
yeah, so I've had the blue check, I guess, since Redacted Tonight started, and I guess he's charging for it now, and I guess I'm not going to throw away Twitter, which I spent 12 or 15 years building up, because he's charging $8 a month, but it does obviously mean that I assume they're going to let anyone in who wants to pay $8 a month, which, not that I really give a shit in the regards of like who gets a blue check and who doesn't, but it's like, okay, well, so now it's just a thing you pay for. I guess it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you have a TV show or you're a journalist or you're anything else.
Yeah, I mean, it just sort of like goes out the window. So, and I think that's why a lot of people are on the platform in the first place. They want to be abreast of things that people are saying. So now if that goes out the window, I think you're just going to see a lot of people leave the platform. I mean, I think this could be the beginning of Twitter's MySpace fall from grace. We'll see. Yeah. I mean, maybe not. Yeah, I don't know.
It very well could. That would be a far more costly. So Rupert Murdoch bought MySpace for $600 million, completely tanked it, and then sold it for $6 million, which was viewed as one of the biggest disasters ever. But Elon Musk bought this for like $40 billion. And if he sells it for like $1 billion.
If he's lucky, man, I don't think it'll go. And I think, didn't they already do an analysis that it was only worth about 10? And he's like, here's 44.
Well, yeah, it seems like he basically offered it on as a joke, and then would have had to pay $1 billion for pulling out. So it seems like he kind of like Donald Trump running for president. It seems like it started as a joke, and he was like, "Oh fuck, I'm in it now."
Yeah, dog caught the car. I mean, it's like that, but he's trying to like have a sense of humor about it. He's like, look, I'm bringing the sink, and it's like, dude, Elon, you got advertisers to report to now, buddy. You're gonna have to play bad cop amidst all your little fanboys. You're not gonna like it. You're not gonna like it.
All right, man. I want to get to the important shit because I know I only have limited time with you. And I'm glad I have you on for this because this is something I have not kept up with enough. And I know you've done a pretty good job of that. I used to be one of the few people, and I'm talking, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, one of the few people, and definitely the only comedian I think at the time talking about net neutrality. Then for a brief window, it became something people talked about. And now I haven't heard it mentioned almost except for from you in 5 years. And I find it incredibly infuriating. But I also want to hear if there's any hope of getting net neutrality back and where that stands.
So it's been a very, very frustrating couple years as somebody who does, really try to help hold the front line on these policies. So to give people a brief history, very brief, on what net neutrality really is and what it means, it keeps the internet free and open. It makes sure the internet runs like flowing water. So if you go to any website, they can't discriminate how a website loads, if a content creator pays fees or whatever.
Right, and just to give people an example of what they could do if they cared to do it, is they could take a site like mine or a site like WikiLeaks, to use someone that's more powerful, and just immediately slow it down. And the truth is, you'd be, even if you allowed a certain percentage to get through, so it wasn't technically not functioning, by slowing it down, you would decrease the number of people that were able to use that site, by 90% or 99%. And imagine the impact that would have on the revolution of information, on what people are finding out and why. And meanwhile, you keep the fire hose of mainstream media going fast as fuck.
Yeah.
And the truth is, people are lazy, so they'll often go to the fast website. So.
It's basically turning the internet into cable television 2.0, really, is like what they would have the ability to do. So we've had net neutrality pretty much since the internet's been around. It was a rule that everyone was expected to follow, even though they didn't really want to, but it was just this thing. So then Verizon said, wait a second, we don't want to follow this anymore because we can make more money if we don't. We're going to sue. So they took the FCC to court in 2014. The court said, well, yeah, technically the FCC can't enforce this. So a bunch of digital rights activists, you were one of them, said, hey, this is why we've been talking for like 10 years now to say, get this law officially on the books. And no one took us seriously. I guess we got to do it now. Public outcry was very loud. So we got net neutrality on the books. But then the Trump FCC rolled that back as soon as they could. So now we don't have net neutrality on the books. But since then, a bunch of people have rallied at the state level. We do have a net neutrality law here in California where I live. So right now it's like we're kind of holding the front lines on that angle and bringing us up to date.
I want to show this headline, although this is from The Verge, which I trust as far as I can throw them. And they also have stand with Ukraine all over the screen. So I don't know what to do with that, but Democrats revive the fight for net neutrality. So is this true?
Well, there is a bill that basically just gives us net neutrality back. And it's the broadband, I think it's called like the Broadband Justice Act, Net Neutrality and Broadband Justice Act. It's there, the second paragraph down. And they had a bill before that was just like Save the Internet Act, and that was in 2019. So there are bills floating around that just give us net neutrality back. The other big glaring thing that's going on right now is that Joe Biden promised a pro net neutrality pick for the FCC. He did begrudgingly, slowly but surely keep that promise in nominating Gigi Sohn. Took him forever. It took him a record amount of time to just be like, I'm really sleepy. And plus, I started my campaign with a bunch of Comcast execs. But the Bernie task force made me do it.
Did it take him that long because he didn't want to do it or because he forgot?
Probably both, dude. I mean, probably like just pick. It's like net neutrality. Do I like that? What is that? Does that have to do with the radio? I don't know. I'll go back to sleep. And that went on for like a year. So he finally begrudgingly appointed Gigi Sohn, but she hasn't been confirmed by the Senate, probably because Chuck Schumer has so many conflicts of interest in big tech. It's not even funny. So it's just sitting there. And this is like a record, dude. This has been going on for about 2 years. Here's the best part. If she's not confirmed by year's end, they need to re-up her nomination, which might not even happen. So we would be making history
So
As
she
far
is
as
so you believe she is good. She is good. She would do a really good job.
As an FCC nominee, absolutely. I mean, I don't know everything about her, like every nook and cranny in her 30-year history, but she's pro net neutrality and she's got a good record on digital rights. And as far as an FCC appointee goes, that's all I care about. You know,
Mhm.
you're not making decisions on anything else. You're making decisions in regard to a free and open internet. So you're pro net neutrality. You got the good record there. Good pick. I'm for it. But they're still stalling on her. They're still stalling, and it really is. It is history making. I mean, just to give people a point of reference, Trump got Ajit Pai confirmed within a couple weeks as head of the FCC. Trump's pick before he left, that Nathan Symington guy who has no qualifications whatsoever, that guy was confirmed in a
That's
couple
actually
weeks.
one of the highest qualifications for these folks
No,
is
that's
having
true.
no qualifications.
And no qualifications. I think he has a laptop. That's his only qualification. He was confirmed within a week. Gigi Sohn, perfect pick for an FCC commissioner who is a pro net neutrality pick, which, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what's important. They're still dragging their feet on her, still dragging their feet. And it's just historic, dude. Just historic. Like, this should be the easiest win, but an important win. You know, I mean, it's like, yeah, this isn't the world's sexiest topic that you hear in the headlines often. But if we lose the internet, what do we got? And we could lose it. We lost radio. We lost TV. We lost newspapers years and years ago. We could lose the internet. It's just another medium.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean they've done a good job of they kind of put everybody in the walled off gardens of a handful of social media sites, you know,
Yeah.
YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and a couple others, Instagram. And then they have suppressed those of us speaking anything that's outside of the Overton window, outside of the ruling class talking points. And that's been working largely for them. So I guess in many ways they feel they haven't needed to crush to truly crush net neutrality, like slow down my website and stuff, because they don't need to. They can do it without doing that.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely getting what they want on that angle. But on the other angle, it's the ISPs, internet service providers, are always looking to make more money. So they're champing at the bits. I mean, they already offer us like really crappy service for a really, really high freaking price. Like, they already do that, and they get away with that all over the country. They're already doing things. A study came out recently. They will charge the same amount for internet in a rich neighborhood and then a poor neighborhood right next door, but they give the poor neighborhood crappier service because they're just
Really?
like, yeah, they're just, I mean, that's going on in 38 cities right now. And it's 4 companies doing it. It's Earthlink, CenturyLink, Verizon, and AT&T. And they're basically, because they just think they'll get away with it. They're just like, oh, these poor
Well, yeah.
neighborhoods, they won't complain. These rich
But
neighborhoods might.
poor neighborhoods don't have the political power, the political clout to do anything about it, to fight back in that way, and so
Yeah.
they're not worried about it.
Yeah, so they're already doing it, and this is how net neutrality. I mean, sometimes people hear that and they're like, "What does that have to do with my daily life?" A lot, actually, a lot, because they could just completely stifle your internet totally. And look at what you rely on the internet for. We live in a global village, whether we like it or not. We better take care of it.
Fair points, fair points. So, what you're recommending people take action right now?
I'm recommending people take action. You can go to battleforthenet.com, contact your officials directly, and demand that Gigi Sohn be appointed to the FCC to break the 2-2 gridlock and give us a pro net neutrality appointee to hopefully get net neutrality back at a federal level immediately.
What was that website again? Battleforthenet.com?
Battleforthenet.com.
Okay, I thought that was the sequel to that movie about Scientology. Was it?
You know, it is the title of a movie script I wrote years ago that never went anywhere, but we don't have time to dive into that. But now it's just a site to try to get net neutrality back.
Cool, man. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here, and come back anytime. And everybody should check out Get Your News On with Ron. And I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Can I let people know I do have a couple tour dates coming up, if you don't mind? I'm gonna be in Tucson, Arizona.
Absolutely, as long as you say the name of each city backwards.
Dude, I could try to spell it backwards. It would take us a while. They'd be like, "Oh man, he's really not good at that." But I'm gonna be in Tucson, Arizona, January 28th. And that is a stand-up show, and we're going to do a screening of a short film I finished called Loner. It's only 12 minutes long, so yeah, check that out. And then I'm going to be in San Diego February 17th and 18th. Oh, and I have an early bird special for Tucson. If you get tickets now, use the promo code Lucy at checkout, and you get $5 off your ticket. So go to romplacone.com for that and all tour dates. And I'm Ron Placone on all the socials. And yeah, Lee, thank you so much for having me and for highlighting net neutrality. There's a couple of us, dude. It's like me, you, and like 10 others.
Yeah, I know. I mean, part of it is by design. Part of it is,
Oh, yeah.
obviously the mainstream media has done everything they can to never talk about net neutrality or act like it matters. But part of it is just like the fucking, was it Carlin who talked about the water circling the drain gets quicker and quicker? It just seems like the shit fest is speeding up. And so just getting people's attention is harder and harder.
Well, which I get. I mean, the climate's collapsing and stuff. So I totally get it. But it's like people realize how important this is because when we did officially lose net neutrality, people left so many comments they crashed the FCC's website. I mean, people went nuts. So it's like people realize how important it is. So I think it's important for people who really pay attention to the digital rights beat and try to help out these campaigns like I do, to just sort of be like, all right, let's do everything in our power to not wait until it's too late this time.
Absolutely. Thanks again, man.
Cheers, buddy. Be well.
See you soon.
Peace.
All right, Ron Placone. Love that guy. What a good guy. No one can say Ron Placone is not a good guy. All right, so let's get to a couple more stories. This is now going to rumble.com/Lee Camp. Rumble.com/Lee Camp. Here, I'll grab the link for you just so you can be lazy and click in the comment thread. I'm throwing the link in the comment thread so you can head over there and join me. The other platforms will cut off. I've had to do this because because YouTube has suppressed me and Facebook suppressed me. So I'm continuing this live feed at rumble.com/Lee Camp. I got plenty more for you. I also have a groundbreaking episode of the Most Censored News that I'm going to show you. So don't miss that. And yeah, here we go. Rumble.com/Lee Camp. It's free to watch over there, by the way. It's not going to cost you anything. So why not? Why not keep the show rolling?